The warm-up period is winding down. If only it were what it sounds like it's supposed to be, the warm-up period. But in fact, as the temperatures continue to plummet here in Saranac Lake, I don't know if this would be called the warm-up period as much as it would be called the fending off the dropping, plummeting temperatures. Yes, more of a defensive rather than an offensive approach. As we're just warming up behind the scenes, Joe and I, as we welcome you one and all to the Gold Sheet, Saranac Lake Civic Center Arena in Saranac Lake, New York, for the first of a pair of semifinal games. This one here, the Potsdam Hailstormers taking on the SLP Lakers. Question?
Is that right?
That's it.
Okay, copy me.
Right on. Thank you. And so we've got ourselves a special evening tonight as we set up for the opening period puck drop. My name's Glenn Burnett with a play-by-play and color commentary. This is game one of a pair of semifinal games in the white division, the Cam Moody division, as it has been called, in honor of Sergeant Cam Moody, who is going to be taking off for a year, heading out of the country with the Army National Guard to do some work for the country, starting off in Africa. We wish him the best of health and well-being, and wish everyone who knows him and has benefited from his presence in the community that they are able to also have the best of health and well-being while he's gone. As we open up first period play, Lakers skating in the red sweaters with the blue and white trim, and Potsdam in those baby blues with the white trim. We'll go ahead and introduce you to Potsdam as they come in 2-1 in the division, 4 points in the standings. They are Burkham, Gable, Green, Jones, Kaiser, Kilgore, Maxwell, Munn, Murray, Pignoni, Planty, Wallace, Warren, Weems, and Whalen. As we've had a brief moment to chat with Papa Weems as he stopped by the broadcast station here, checking in on things. We'll get a neutral zone face-off. St. Louis in the middle. And we've had a chance to scout this SLP team on Thursday night during that opening night ceremony. We'll go ahead and introduce you to the roster as we're 2 minutes into this first period. 3 12-minute periods in this game. And there will be a 60-second timeout allotted for both teams. And if we need to go to overtime, we will. Here are the Lakers. Moody in net. Midget, Munn, Mahaney, Nicholas, Nason, Farrell, McCormick, St. Louis, Corliss, and Colby. As we see line changes ahead of the face-off. Midget coming out on the ice. Down in front, please. Thank you so much. As this is played out across neutral ice, and Potsdam in on the attack as this is chased down by Nicholas on the defense, able to break up the attack. And that worked out to neutral ice. Potsdam looking to regain control. Now the Lakers come into this one in the 3 seed with a win and 2 losses in round robin play. And an exciting opportunity for them to earn their trip to the gold medal game. The winner here will play for gold tomorrow. Now working through the middle with a wrister. That one's broken up before it can get to Moody. This is played all the way down to the end wall, and that'll go down for icing. As we see number 89 in net for Potsdam. That is Wallace in the net. Take a look down the Potsdam roster. We see Green on the left wing side. Stepping in for the faceoff. In the middle, as this is going to go down once again for icing. And the Lakers just doing what they can to keep the puck out of the defensive zone. And that's as good a tactic as any. As we see Kilgore out on the right wing side. In the middle, setting up for the faceoff. That's Pignoni. Enzo. Not Ferrari, but Pignoni. A very Italian-sounding name, as this is played behind the net. Working up on the near side. This is St. Louis, and St. Louis having his way through the ice. And there's a shot and an icebreaker. St. Louis going coast to coast. And putting SLP up 1-0 early first period. As we are 3:47 into this first period. Immediately following this game, we'll have the second semifinal. That'll be Middlebury along with Tupper Lake. And the winner of that game will play the winner of this game, as this is sent all the way down. As we see Wallace keeping a close eye on the action in his zone. And now racing up. This is Weems. Weems with a throw on net. Moody comes up with a save off the rebound. Played up top. As we see Murray out on the right wing side, and this is intercepted. Big break here for the Lakers. As that's sent up ahead by Colby. And we saw it in the early sequence. The Lakers had desperately sent it down the ice for a couple of icings in a row. This is often what is done when a team feels like they're going to be holed up in their own defensive zone for too long. Out of desperation, they kept throwing it down the ice, following that up with the coast-to-coast by St. Louis. As we see St. Louis back out on the ice, along with McCormick on the backside. Now McCormick dropping back, looking to cut off the angle, as Farrell also supporting. A strong play by Planty, keeping it in the offensive zone. And here's St. Louis with a shot and a rebound. And the Lakers very quickly out to a 2-0 lead. St. Louis with the shot, Farrell with the rebound, with a fortunate bounce as that one came to the open side on the left, and Farrell buries that one with 7:23 remaining first period action. SLP leading 2-0. Now, a couple of guidelines that we also learned right before game time, and that is when we get to scoring differentials. We don't know that we're on our way to that point, but there have been a couple of games that went to a running clock, and if in the second period we find ourselves with an 8-goal differential, we'll go to a running clock. Otherwise, if it's a 6-goal differential going into the third, we'll go to a running clock. Here's a shot wide of the net as that comes hard off of the glass. As we see Warren out on the ice for Potsdam. And now Moody slips outside of the crease, having to recover as the net was left wide open. Now, I might suggest for some of these young goaltenders, just as it's pretty standard for goaltenders to scrape up the crease area, in some cases, these young netminders, when they make a play towards one side, they overplay and end up sliding well out of the cage area. It might be a good idea to scrape up a little bit further than the crease to help slow things down a little bit. As this is shot up towards the point. And that'll be offsides as St. Louis with a nose for the net, but no eye on his teammate well into the offensive zone already. And so we'll get ourselves a neutral zone faceoff. And now Potsdam controlling out along the far side half wall. This will be picked up by the Lakers. Here's St. Louis with a wrister. Caught up in the defense. St. Louis centering pass and just missing Farrell as Farrell was trailing on the weak side of the play. For those of you youngsters out there, and even young parents who aren't familiar, the weak side, the part of the play that is on the other side from where the puck is. Wherever the puck is, that's the strong side. The weak side is where everybody is falling asleep and they don't realize there is a threat heading towards the back door. As this is worked up on the left wing side, a little poorly timed across the blue stripe. That'll be offsides. Down to 4:50 remaining first period action. SLP out to a quick 2-0 lead. Still well within reach for Potsdam. And given their performance this weekend, I'm sure that they are well confident enough that they can jump back into this one. As Moody paddles that one away. Played off towards the side of the net, and Potsdam able to bury this one. And a big celebration. Yes, a little flex move right there, as that's Weems at least doing the heavy lifting on the celebration. And so just outside of 4.5 to go in this first period, Potsdam cutting the deficit in half, now trailing 2-1. As this is played deeply into the Lakers zone, sent in from the half wall off the rebound and just missing as Weems, looking very similar to St. Louis and or Farrell, sticking around the net and looking for any of the trash that's sitting outside the disposal. And now one-on-one, Moody with a great paddle save. Little poke check. Shut down the attack. And that'll be offsides. Great play by Heath Moody as he went down, tried to square up with Weems as he came in. Little swipe of the paddle. Poke checked that one away. As we're down to 3.5 to go. Just past the 6 o'clock hour. This was scheduled as a 6 p.m. puck drop. 6:11 p.m. currently, Saranac Lake local time. You're watching Game Capsule TV, a presentation of the Ultimate Chill Tournament here in Saranac Lake, New York. And talk about chill. It is chill, although chill sounds a little bit more warm if you're using it colloquially. But no, it is quite literally. And there is your equalizer from the middle. And somebody strings up the bow and arrow and sends one flying. As we're Get a look in. A 2-2 tie currently. And that was Whalen, number 24. Now, of course, all of this stuff may show up differently on the official score sheet without any announcements over the PA. I don't have the advantage of hearing what the official passes along to the scorekeeper and timekeeper down below. But to the best of my ability, that looked like it was Whalen coming up with credit on the score. It is even right now, 2-2, and Potsdam looking to go up as this is eased out to the far side corner. Current temperature here in Saranac Lake. Oh, can we call it brutal? It's 4 degrees outside as St. Louis gets a shot. He seems to favor that right wing side. A right side shooter. 4 degrees here. That's right. And for those of you who are familiar, and many of the folks who will tune in and check out the replay on Game Capsule TV's YouTube channel, you are well aware of the cold temperatures in the area. And if you have been here in the Saranac Lake Civic Center Arena before, you know, it is a very cold ice sheet, very similar to Tupper Lake's Civic Center Arena. Here's a shot. And what it usually means is the colder it is outside the arena, the colder it will be inside the arena. There's only, maybe a single or a light double layer of protection from the elements outside. I mean, really, what are we sparing here? Wind chill? That's about it. Yes, there is fog coming out of Joe's, what is that, talking device? Speaking apparatus? Breathing apparatus? Yes, he is fogging up the place. We're down to 100 seconds remaining. This one takes an odd carom off of the sidewall. Won't make it down far enough for icing, as this is played to the near side. Many of these teams we've run across during the course of competition. And here's a rebound sent in, and the Lakers, with 1:22 remaining. Nothing like sticking around the net. Let's take a look here. I think that's Mahaney, I believe. Double check your scorecard there, but I believe Mahaney was hanging around the net looking for a loose puck. Whistle hadn't blown as the puck wasn't secured yet. Right now, just outside of a minute remaining in this first period in this semifinal game in the white division, the Cam Moody division. As the Lakers in red leading 3-2. And I think what we have here, folks, is a case of the barn burner. As this is played up to the top of the slot, fired back down. Here's a shot wide of the net. And you see Nason racing around in the offensive zone. And a close call there, as we saw McCormick drop back and provide a little bit of defense. Down to 26.9 seconds remaining. And this is played down to the end wall. Many folks this time of year dream of a white Christmas. We've had plenty of snow over the last several days. Right now we're going into an Arctic freeze, and I don't think anybody is dreaming of an ice Christmas, although many of these hockey players do dream of ice. As the buzzer sounds, closing out a busy first period of action, as the SLP Lakers with an edge, up 3-2. We'll take a quick break, step outside, check the dew point and the barometric pressure. And I think you're good. And so X. There you go. Alrighty, welcome back as we open up second period play with a tip of the cap to retired NHL commentator Doc Emmerich. We say welcome to the second period, the period of the log change, as the goaltenders trade nets, putting them and the defensive zones they guard on the opposite end of the ice from their benches. This makes defensive on-the-fly substitutions difficult. So the key takeaway in this period is to get into the offensive zone early and often, apply pressure to the opposing defense, see if you can fatigue them, find them flat-footed, out of position, perhaps pulling penalties like we see Potsdam issued one. But most of all, you want to get shots on net and pucks in the bucket. And speaking of pucks in the bucket, take a look early second period action. Skating in the red sweaters, the SLP Lakers leading 3-2. As Potsdam sends one to the box. And so the Lakers will enjoy a 60-second power play. We'll see if they can make anything out of this. As we get a look at Planty is in the box. That was an interference call, by the way, for those of you keeping score. And Potsdam with a shorthanded goal as three Hailstormers go down to the ice simultaneously on the back end of the play. And it appears that Gable may be credited with that goal. A shorthanded goal. That is one fine way to kill off a penalty. Even if you yield a power play goal to the opponent now, the whole situation is a draw. As this is played down low. And now racing out across neutral ice, back into the Lakers zone. You see McCormick out on the ice. This is chased down as Wallace sets it aside, out towards the back door. And we see Midget playing out of the corner. And we're back to even strength, 5-on-5. Waiting for the tag up, just barely getting... we had one coming off of the bench. And perhaps you want to come out of the other door, huh? On the other side of the blue stripe. Well, we'll get an offsides face-off from the neutral zone. Far side dot, just outside of the Hailstormers' back end. We learned a little bit about this Potsdam team name. Of course, they come from a larger organization where at some areas, perhaps divisions within the greater Potsdam organization, they call them Sandstoners. But then there's also the Hailstorm. And a couple other names that I couldn't register into my short-term memory. Only just enough of an impression to know that there are a few different names of Potsdam teams out of the same overarching organization. As we see one go to the box for the Lakers, that's Mahaney, and he'll sit for one. Turnaround shot wide of the net. Round to the near side corner. Played out to the far side. Now, of course, a lot of these kids have a fun time reconnecting with one another from game to game. And some of us used to be a little bit more connected more regularly. Joe and I have worked so many times together back at the Olympic Center in Lake Placid. I don't know what the count is on the number of games, but enough that I remember your name. That says something. We had Robin, the smooth operator, here this morning with me. All part of a kind of like the Glory Days production team. We have all shot camera for Game Capsule TV. And some of us doing it more talkatively than others. As this is played across neutral ice, this is flung down low as Wallace eases it out towards the far side corner. 8:20 remaining second period action in a 3-3 tie right now. Potsdam in the light blue. And it looks like we have an offsides. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, Joe, but I've been telling people, a couple of people, not too many people, as these days it's not as huge a milestone to cross, but this last weekend out in Lake Placid, on the 6th gold medal game of 6, we crossed 1,500 games since November 2018. And when you subtract the pandemic time period, the shutdown there, we're talking about somewhere in the range of 40 working hockey months. And it's not like I tally these things every day, but each season I look at the chunks, kind of like they say in football, chunk yardage, as this is played out to the far side half wall. Potsdam trying to hold up on the attack, and this is stolen away. And now racing up on the right wing side with another opportunity to drop one in the bucket. And St. Louis, at this point, some of the up-and-coming skaters want to know, what kind of skates is he wearing? It's got to be the skates. What's that? Bowers. They're not Jordans? Different sport. Yes. Sometimes people believe that the shoes, the boots, as it were, are what contribute to fine play, but it's truly got to be a fit for you. You don't want to just buy based on somebody else. What if their feet aren't the same as yours? As this is played out to the far side half wall. And that shot rebounded out in front, and a great play as Moody crashes down to the ice and breaks up the rebound attack. This is Gable working behind his own net, trailed by Mahaney, and played up to the right side. That's Whalen on the right side, throwing one on net, and Moody will hold out for the whistle. And so we set up a face-off to Moody's left side. And this is thrown out into the corner, up towards the point, and this one will slide into neutral ice. Very strong performances from both sides as they've been going tooth and nail at this one. A lot of skating out here has scraped up this ice pretty nicely. And St. Louis looking for the steal. This is played out on the left wing side. And now Potsdam's coach calling for everyone to get back. So we see Planty battling with St. Louis. Quick change off of the bench, and the Lakers able to hold his own. This one bounces into the possession of Wallace. .540 remaining second period action. All knotted up at 3 apiece. Now there are those games that we find in a heightened playoff type atmosphere. This semifinal here helping to determine who's going to advance to play for gold tomorrow. And sometimes these games end up being every bit as good a matchup and pairing as you might get in a gold medal game. And somebody left the refrigerator door open. Where is that draft coming from? This is one of those places that if it were your own home, you'd tell somebody, close that door. You're either in or you're out. But yes, a breeze comes by. And of course, the temperature in the lobby, which is much warmer than here, continues to drop as more people come through those front doors. Just that few seconds of the door being open brings a very cold draft. It's about 0 degrees right now. And that draft comes into the lobby area, and then as soon as folks come up the stairs and into the rink area, that opens some of that cool air. But somehow I think this is a hole in the roof is what it feels like. As this goes all the way down, no icing, 4.5 to go second period action. These are the kinds of games I like to watch. Close stuff. As long as it's within a possession of each other, that's good for me. Of course, those of you out there listening to the playback on this and watching, if you watch the live game, you know what it's like when it's this close. You get very tense. You get very anxious. You get nervous. You're hoping that your team will win. For me, I'm looking for the closest game that can be put up, as this is played on Moody, and Moody comes up with an important save. That was one-on-one with the attacker. Played back up towards the point, and now swatted down from below the goal line. Centering pass. That's played up to Planty. Planty sends it down into the slot, but it's broken up. And now racing up on the right wing side. Who can it be? Well, that is the steady footwork of your winger out there. And now dropping back is Mahaney as he sends it out to the far side corner. Played into the face-off circle. Here's a clapper off the side of the cage. 3.5 to go, second period action. And this is played into neutral ice. Some really good skating out here from both teams. We haven't seen a lot of slippage out here. And we have mentioned in this age class, once they get their feet, everything else follows. But until their feet feel secure down below them, their stick handling, their passing, their receiving of passes, and their shots are all shot. But once those feet get under them, the stick handling becomes a little bit more deft. The passing, a little more accurate. The shots on frame. Now working up on the left side. An opportunity to take the lead here as Moody shuts it down. And this is sent out to neutral ice. Down to 2.5 to go, and that'll be sent up well too early, and that'll be offsides. Probably wouldn't have been a bad choice to bring the balaclava. Although it's just a couple games, it's no big deal. But so long as we are polishing up our complaints, this is played up on the right wing side. That's Jones out there for Potsdam. Now racing up through the middle. As we see Planty trying to get in the way. Here's a shot that comes off the side of the net. Deceptive for some of the Lakers fans as they thought that went in. Rebound out in front. Finally held on to by Wallace. You see Mahaney set up on the left side. In the middle is Munn. This is flung down into the slot area. You see McCormick also out on this line. And up top on the left, that's Corliss. Fired back down into the slot area. 95 seconds remaining in this long change period. There's a play out of the slot and flung back in. Here's Mahaney. Played down low as Planty picks it up. This one squirts up into the slot area, and now Potsdam looking to bring numbers. As that was played out by Jones. You see Weems out there. Weems with really good cutting on those skates. Able to shift left and right very easily. You get some of the smaller players on any given team will have a tendency to be better at their lateral shifting. Moving from left to right, where the larger counterparts cannot shift as quickly. This is played from the blue stripe, and now here's Weems. And Weems has a little bit of help. Shot out across the middle as Murray chases in the corner. Thrown out in front, and a ricochet across a whole slew of skates. And that'll be offsides. 13.8 seconds remaining, second period action, all tied up at 3 apiece. As you are enjoying, no doubt, the comfort of your own viewing and perhaps your own climate control. This is played up by the top of the zone, and that'll do it for second period action. Just a little bit more scoring out there as we get a look at the big board. Closing out 2 periods of play, these two are well matched. Number 2 and 3, Potsdam and Saranac Lake Placid, all tied up at 3 apiece. We'll take a quick break, step outside, rotate the tires. When we come back, we'll tell you why you don't store the topiaries in the linen closet. From alongside the Saranac Lake Civic Center Arena cold sheet, you're watching the Ultimate Chill Tournament semifinal number 1 on Game Capsule TV. We'll be right back. Yes, indeed. Talk about dodging the overtime in a Paul Smith College women's hockey game last season. That was close. Those are long games, and when you're in the cold temperatures like this, it can be quite overbearing. Of course, I wear gloves right now. They're still only medium weight gloves. They've got the E-tips. I have to scroll through some of my research during game time, but during that time, I don't think I was wearing gloves because I don't remember having those electronic tip gloves at the time. As we open up third period action, goaltenders returning back to their original nets. We open up with a 3-3 tie here in the third. If we need to go to overtime, we'll go to overtime. I tell you what, I love an overtime game. I love it when it's that close that it needs an extra period to decide a winner. But I won't have a problem if someone can win during regulation, as this shot goes wide of Moody. Played out to the far side as we see Maxwell out back right side trying to hold the line. This one slips by, and Gable able to force it up into the Lakers zone. This will be sent down the length of the ice, and that'll be called for icing. As we see Warren chasing the puck for Potsdam. Good times, folks. Early third period action. A 3-3 tie. The families have been pretty involved, cheering the kids along. As this is played to the blue line. Nice play by Planty to hold the offensive zone. There's a shot off of the end wall. Sent down by Jones. Jones starting a retreat quickly so as to cut off the speedy St. Louis, who veers right and sends this one directly on Wallace, and Wallace comes up with a stop. Weems back out on the ice for Potsdam. Up at the back right side is Nicholas for the Lakers. In the middle is Munn. As Munn will try to angle off the attempted rush. And that one's misplayed just over the blue line by Nicholas, as it drew just a couple of inches on the other side before throwing it back in. Played into the middle, and Moody with the paddle eases it away. Here's Planty. Planty lining it up. Sends it down into the face-off circle. This will ricochet out to neutral ice. This is played by Murray out on the far side, getting a little bit of help from Munn. Now played to the near side. Here's Weems. Weems cutting through traffic. And some folks looking for a call, as Midget had spun Weems around. Hard to say. Would you call that close to hooking? As this is played winding up with a clapper. That's Munn sitting out in front of the net as Moody thought he had the mouse, but somebody throws it out towards the half wall. Don't we all think we have the mouse? Played out of the slot, squaring up. There's a shot deflected up into the air as Weems corrals it. This one's going to be sent all the way down the ice. And come heck or ice water, St. Louis says, get this puck out of this zone, sends it down for icing. That'll spare the Lakers for a moment as they get some changes out on the ice. 8:16 remaining, third period action. Still tied up at 3 apiece. For a moment, we thought this was going to turn into a barn burner. Things have leveled out on the defensive side. Something's got to give, though, here, as Colby plays it out of the corner. Check that. That's Corliss. And now here's St. Louis. St. Louis racing in on the right side. This has been a favorite location to come down, that right side lane. And then St. Louis likes to release it from the right face-off circle. We have seen St. Louis take it all the way down and try to go to the backhand. As this is deflected out wide. Munn sends it out in front, and St. Louis able to catch it on the back door, and what a setup there. St. Louis was trying to get a shot initially from the right circle. That deflected off of one of the Potsdam defenders and out into the corner. Munn chased it into the corner, sent it back over towards the net, and that's all you got to do is put it near the net, and you're going to start stirring up some action. And that's just what Munn did, sent it near the net, out in front towards the back door side, and St. Louis able to come up with a gift. And the Lakers in red leading 4-3 with 7:59 remaining game time. That is provided we don't find ourselves at a tie at the end of regulation. Planty pressuring as Midget tries to force it into the offensive zone. There's well too much time left on the clock for the Lakers to just try to kill clock. That will more likely be an advantage when we get down into that 2-minute time period where it feels like you're just trying to kill off a penalty. And this is going to be scooted all the way down. Now, you don't have to put a lot of velocity on that puck with how cold this ice sheet is. It glides a long distance with little effort. And that'll be the power button. As this is played by the blue line. There we go. You got a little bit of ice built up. So we've got this one here, and then we will follow this one up immediately with 1 versus 4 in this division. That'll be the Middlebury Tigers, who swept the weekend round robin, going 3-0 in round robin play. And they will face off against the Tupper Lake Jacks, the Lumberjacks. That comes immediately following this one. And of course, these number 2 versus 3 matchups often predictably close. This is flown in into the backhand, and who can it be? That's Weems right there, doing it again. Got around to the backhand after Moody made a fine save right off the initial shot. And Weems with the equalizer. Well, that's an early round draft pick right there. Unless, as some teams do, they pass on those the likely early round draft picks because they think they're undersized. Next thing you know, you have a 6-foot-tall quarterback who wins championships and Super Bowls. Or you end up with a Tom Brady on skates. I do believe somebody was debating whether Connor Bedard is a good player. Yes, these are some of the conversations I overhear with the kids while they're in that locker room hallway heading out towards the ice. We're down to 5:20 remaining. Here's an opportunity for St. Louis to take everything out in front, and a beautiful play by Wallace as that one ramps up off of the paddle and into the glass. And now an opportunity to return the favor, and we got a penalty upcoming here. And this is going to go against the Lakers. Here's Planty. Planty with a shot down low, and that'll be whistled dead as we have a player down for Potsdam, and we'll take a knee. And the Potsdam trainer will cross the ice and check on the young skater, slowly rising to his feet. To a round of applause, skating off, looking little worse for wear. That was Whalen. Once again, best of health and well-being. That looks like a hooking penalty, if I caught that closely enough. And so, to the box. And with 4:57 remaining in regulation, Colby sits for a minute or until further notice. We'll see if Potsdam can capitalize here as this is played down low, and Moody waiting for the whistle as we see McCormick helping his teammate freeze the puck. And so we're all tied up at 4 apiece. Late third period action. Once again, Colby in the box. And so Potsdam skating 5-on-4. Watch out, Weems on the left wing side. As we see Gable out on the ice. And now here's an opportunity. Racing up on the right wing side. As we see Nason out on the ice, chasing the puck all over the zone to the extent that the Lakers can possess the puck in the offensive zone. They can avoid that power play goal as this is eased onto Moody, and Moody able to reach out and cover up. 16 seconds remaining in the Colby penalty. As we see Munn in the middle for Potsdam, waiting for quick personnel substitution. As we saw Whalen come off the ice. Here's a play from up top. That's Gable up at the point area, and a little physicality out there on the ice, and it looks like this is going to disfavor the Lakers. This is crunch time right now. Colby just coming out of the box, and just as Colby comes out, one goes in. And that's an elbow right there, folks. You really don't want to see that kind of play out here. And so Farrell goes to the box for a minute. As this is played in on Moody, and Moody, unaware of where the puck is, he's on top of it. And that one's blown dead. Now it's all tied up at 4 apiece, just under 4 minutes remaining in regulation. As we expect the Lakers will try to just clear it out of the zone and see if they can't burn off this PK. Shot off of the end wall. Now to the side of the net. This is Weems. Weems sending it up into the mid slot. Here's a shot as that one is, I don't know if Moody caught a piece of that, but that went wide of the net. If he did catch a piece of it, that was a nice play. And it is quite tense right now. You got to be careful not to draw any penalties. 20 seconds left in the Farrell penalty as this is played out to the far side. Nason looking to help out, and Moody diving out in front, coming up with a stop, and a beautiful play by Moody. So many of the parents on their feet right now, watching the tense closing minutes of this tie puck game as this is played by Nason. This is chased out to the far side half wall. This is Weems working through traffic, played up to the blue line. Here's a wrister. As we see Kaiser out on the ice, and this one gets past Moody. Too much attack, and for too long a period of time, as Potsdam had enjoyed back-to-back power plays, and just as they went back to even strength, Potsdam able to take advantage, now leading 5-4 with 2.5 to go, 2:36 to be exact. Now St. Louis looking for possession. This is played up on the right side by Kaiser, and that one's lasered up into the glass. That's going to make it out to neutral ice as it rims around. We'll get an offsides. And you could perhaps, well, it looks like you have power. This one shot, and a close call as we heard the collective whoa on that shot. Played out to neutral ice as Potsdam gets the tag up. This is sent down, no icing. So now the Lakers trailing by 1 as they came in the underdog. Not quite much of an underdog as it's number 2 and 3, Potsdam and SLP. But they were seated in the 3 spot. And they have done well throughout as this is being pinned up against the base of the wall. As this is chased down. This is Colby from behind his own net. And now Mahaney sends it out towards the far side on the left side as McCormick tries to exit the zone. Now the pressure ramping up. This is McCormick sending it up to the half wall and back down to the end wall, and Potsdam doing a good job of killing off clock as this is rimmed around up towards the left point. A wrister paddled away. And there's plenty of time. But the Lakers need to get out of their own zone right now. And Potsdam doing a great job of keeping it down low as we're down to 30 seconds. That's at least 5 seconds that drop down. And so a timeout for SLP. 27.7 left on the clock as we get a look in at Potsdam. Just 27.7 to kill off to take this one to victory. And if they do, they'll play for gold tomorrow. And we see this Cam Moody Division Gold game will be started at 11:05 a.m. tomorrow. The loser in this one and the next game will play for bronze tomorrow at 8:15. Suffer the little skaters have to get up so early in the cold to play for anything less than gold. And now racing up on the left side. Moody comes out of the net, a sixth attacker out on the ice. 18 seconds remaining in regulation, as the Lakers need just one to extend this. Played out to neutral ice. This one's going to make it perhaps all the way down, and wobbling its way down to the goal line, did not cross, so we did not have icing. And this is going to be it. Potsdam able to overcome. They broke the tie late in regulation, and they come up with a victory. And so they punch their ticket and will play for gold tomorrow. And the Lakers, who came in as the number 3 seed, went toe-to-toe with this Potsdam team and did very well. As this one goes down to the buzzer, Potsdam takes a 5-4 victory. As both teams gather at the center stripe to exchange goodwill on the handshake line, we say good game, yes indeed, good game. Safe travels, good meals, and good luck. What a great day to be a hockey player. What a great day to play hockey. So we'll go ahead and clear the sheet and get ready for semifinal number 2, the primetime nightcap here. The Middlebury Tigers, in the number 1 seed, will play the Tupper Lake Jacks, the number 4 seed. Coming up next, from alongside the Saranac Lake Civic Center Arena's cold sheet, Glenn Burnett with the play-by-play and color commentary, Joe, the smooth operations behind the camera. You're watching the Ultimate Chill Tournament on Game Capsule TV YouTube channel. We'll see you on the next one.